Now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Good.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
In answer to his question about the subjects.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Oh, what a compliment. For that, I thank you.
What a compliment. No, there are hopeless and hungry.
Now it's time for us to stand up for God or we fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listening to the general public, what the public is saying.
And good afternoon, Radio Cayman Nation, and a very happy Tuesday to you. Thank you for tuning into your station of the nation, Radio Cayman. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We do hope you had a very restful and blessed Easter weekend. On today's show, we will be sitting down with the Christian Association of Civics, followed by a combo discussion with the Cayman Business Development Center and the Department of Commerce and Investment, along with a discussion later in the show with various student options available at UCCI. As always, we do welcome your stories, feedback, and questions and invite you to join the conversation. Simply dial 1-800-534-8255. That's 1-800-534-TALK. Or call 949-8037, or you can always WhatsApp us at 925-3261. We're back with more Talk Today following this very brief disclaimer.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you are just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and very pleased to have in studio joining us Miss Katina Anglin. Good afternoon and happy post-Easter weekend.
Good afternoon to you as well, Raymond, and to the Cayman Islands. And I trust that we all had an enjoyable break and Easter celebration, and that even the campers, while they were out there, had their observance of the reason that Easter exists. And it was because Jesus Christ, sent by our Lord God, died on the cross so that we could have everlasting life. That's the reason why we have Easter. It's not about the bunny rabbits. It's not about finding the eggs. And I do agree, it's a lot of fun when you're chasing those eggs. But a basket full of eggs, you can't eat them all. I assure you, I remember even as a child, you know, digging in the sand on Easter Monday trying to find the Easter eggs. And then you get so many of them, and then you realize that you can't, you may have realized after trying, but you prove that you can't eat them all.
No, the game is to get them all, not eat them all. You just want to beat everybody else to get the most eggs. That's the game when you're 7 years old.
Yeah. And, you know, incredibly though, that is the perhaps some of our earliest training in greed.
Perhaps.
It's not to find as many as you need, but to get as much as is out there, even when it's more than you can handle, even when it's more than you need, you know? So that's
it's an interesting conversation. I'd actually love to have another conversation just about that.
Well, today
competitive edge, but that's not today's conversation.
Yeah, today we're going to talk about idolatry, and greed is one of the 7 most dangerous sins. So I'll put that on the list to come back and talk about it, because it's interesting how greed feeds into corruption. Corruption exists in all governments. You know, we move around in this country as though we live in a free society. We're led to believe that we're in a democratic society, but the actions of government actually proves otherwise to us. And we think that we live in a non-corrupt society. But again, the action of government proves otherwise to us, for those of us who are paying attention to what it is that's going on in this country. But today, let's have a look at idolatry. And in order to do that, I want to start with the Constitution of the Cayman Islands, right? And the preamble of the Constitution is a piece of paper that can be torn off, thrown away, burnt, whatever, because it has no legal binding. Some of what is set out in the preamble of the Constitution, though, tells us, well, not some of, the preamble tells us really who we are. And I'm going to take the time to read just some of the aspirations in the preamble. And it says that the people of the Cayman Islands, and it carries on to say, affirm their intention to be a God-fearing country based on traditional Christian values, tolerant of other religions and their beliefs. It is a country in which religion finds its expression in moral living and social justice. It continues on to say that it is a community protective of traditional Caymanian heritage and the family unit. These are just a few of the aspirations that are found in the preamble.
Actually, quite a few in here.
There are. Are there any that are striking to you?
Well, they're all quite wholesome and very logical things you would think would form the basis of any constitution for a country. Nothing, like I said, nothing stands out as, well, this shouldn't actually be in here. It's all very what you'd expect to read in the preamble. Now, when you mention that it's not legally binding, this is just basically a forward.
Aspirational.
It's just aspirational.
Yes.
Okay.
But there is some contest about the Christian values in the Constitution, and because it's often cited from the preamble. And I sometimes wonder if even our elected representatives are aware that the Christian values that's cited in the preamble is not aspirational, it's actually constitutional. And we find this in Part 1 of the Bill of Rights, Part 1 of the Constitution on the Bill of Rights, Freedoms and Responsibilities. Comes under the subheading of Guarantee of Rights, Freedoms and Responsibilities, and that's Section 1, Subsection 1. It says the Bill of Rights, Freedom and Responsibilities is a cornerstone of democracy in the Cayman Islands. Subsection 2 says, this part of the Constitution recognizes the distinct history, culture, Christian values, and socio-economic framework of the Cayman Islands, and it affirms the rule of law and democratic values of human dignity, equality, and freedom. Now, if we turn back to the preamble, we see that Section 1, Subsection 2 encapsulates the preamble to a great degree.
Sure.
In Subsection 2A, but it speaks of Christian values, and as a representative of Christian Association for civics and political education, I'm going to focus today on the Christian obligation to the Constitution and the Constitution to the Christian obligation, how these things interplay.
Sure.
Now, the Constitution is upheld by government, particularly the Premier and the Governor. The Premier is elected by the people to represent the people's concerns. The Governor is appointed by the Queen of England, and the Governor is, whether it's a he or she, as the Premier can also be he or she. And those are the only two sexes, the only two genders, either male or you're female. Premier is elected. Governor is appointed. He looks at protecting the British interests and so on. But they are both responsible to ensure that the government acts according to the Constitution, that it upholds the Constitution. And even the European Convention on Human Rights, the European Court of Human Rights, and some of its judgments when applying the ECHR, the convention, on the Article 53, it says that the application of ECHR principles must first be considered in line with the Constitution of the member state. And they must consider the distinct heritage and values. And so you can't just apply ECHR principles without consideration of the local member state constitution, because then they would be violating the constitution of that state, right?
Sure.
So the responsibility of the governor and the premier, representing both entities, the monarchy, the UK government, and the Cayman Islands people, is to ensure that the Constitution is upheld. The duty of the church, though, because there's the body temporal, which is the elected representatives, parliament, lawmakers, those who enforce it, the executive, the judicial, so on and so forth. All of this is encapsulated in the body temporal. And there's the body spiritual. Consider for a moment that even the Queen of England is the defender of the faith, and we see how these two entities have the interplay and the relationship. There are times when people think that there's a division between the church and the state, in that these two things can never mesh, and that to mesh them is wrong. That's actually contrary to everything that has ever been established, even by God himself, who established first the government in the kingdom of heaven, and then it was replicated here on earth. And the first Judeo-Christian government that existed was that one which was formed under Moses in the desert, bringing the people out from Egypt over into the promised land. The responsibility of the church is to advise the government on lawmaking attempts, amendments, passage of new law and stuff, as to how it will affect society. Because we all want to live in a happy society, one that's even reflected in our preamble, to the extent where it says, a country that is free from crime, a safe and secure and law-abiding community, and a country that is free from crime and drug abuse. Those are another two of the aspirations set out in our preamble. The church is responsible for guiding the government on how it can achieve this, because the church has an understanding, a relationship with God and what his principles are, right? You shall not kill, shall not steal. All of these that were set down by God. The laws that we operate under are the Judeo-Christian principles, commandments that were set down by God. We even see this when we look at Jehoshaphat and his meeting with Ahab. And Ahab wanted Jehoshaphat to go to war against him, with him against the other kings. And Jehoshaphat said to him, he says, well, I'm willing to go. I'm paraphrasing this, right? He says, I'm willing to go. But before I go, even though I'm the appointed king, I'm the accepted king, I'm the anointed king, I'm willing to go. But is there a man of God of whom I can inquire? So he wanted to know that he was about to do the right thing in the sight of God. Today, we have forgotten as a country, as an elected government, as representatives, and the church itself has forgotten its role in seeking the advice of God. Let us take a commercial break, and let me come back with where the church is supposed to be in this whole grand scheme of things and the role that it's supposed to be playing and why it's not able to play that role at this time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I look at the clock going, okay, we have to go. Back at the Word Talk today, right after this.
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Tune in Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. for the Daily Sports Report, covering local, regional, and international sports. Proudly brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
Research tells us that the best age for parents to start having conversations with their children about the dangers of underage drinking is when their kids are 9 years old. Studies show that parents have a significant influence on young people's decision to drink. So talk, they are listening. The NDC offers parents advice on how to talk to their children about underage drinking and prepares you for the tough questions like, did you drink as a child? For tips, log on to www.ndc.ky. This message was brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. In case you're just tuning in, very pleased to have in studio Miss Katina Anglin from the Christian Association of Civics. Miss Katina, we were discussing before the break, where the responsibility of the church is in whether it's influencing public policy or just influencing how we conduct ourselves as a society overall.
Yes.
The floor is yours again.
Yes. So, Raymond, I was setting out that the church has the responsibility to guide the government, right? All throughout history, the church has played a critical and undeniable role in the formation of laws and social norms and stuff. Today, though, the church has relinquished their power. And the reason why they have relinquished it is because they want to be in favor with the world. But Christ warned us against this too. You see, we can't straddle the fence. The church can't choose to please mankind, your elected representatives and the executive and the judiciary and so on, because you want to reap the benefits of the political favors while you're here on earth and think that God will understand. I hear those three words all the time these days when people are violating the commandments that God has set down, and they say, but God will understand. He knows I'm just a human being. Here's what God understands. He sent his son Jesus Christ to die on the cross so that we could have salvation. And in accepting Christ as our Lord and Savior, we receive the power and authority that Christ had while he was here on this earth. Christ said, I did not come to abolish the law. I came to uphold it, to fulfill it. If we go back to the first commandment that God gave mankind, it was to be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion over the earth. At that time when he issued that commandment, there was no sin. All the people on the earth was God's at that time. They were dedicated to God. Sin had not pervaded the earth at the time. So when he said, have dominion over the earth, he was speaking to his people. Have power and authority over everything. He said, even to the creature that creeps on the ground, you have authority over it. We have chosen, and when I say we, I'm talking about the church, we have chosen to honor, to make friends with the world, even when we know that a proposition that we are supporting, even when we know that the action that we are observing or allowing is against God's words, against his order, against his principles, against his commandments. You pick whichever word you need to fill in for that gap. And we think that on the day of judgment, which starts in the church, God will understand that we rejected him. But God is a just God, and he's a jealous God. And the first thing that he said, I am the Lord your God. I brought you up out of Egypt. You shall have no other gods before me. In Chronicles, 2 Chronicles 7 and 14, an often quoted verse. I hear it all the time. I heard it during COVID. I hear it left, right, and center now that the Ukraine and Russian war is happening. I've heard it all the days of my life. And I'm going to read it because there's a word in here that I want to drive home to the church today. Because we seem to think that homosexuality is the only thing that God has registered at the top of his list. But it's not. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is contingent. There's a process and a protocol, a procedure to this. And the last step of it is, and turn from their wicked ways. He's not talking about the world. He's not talking about the sinners. No, salvation is for the sinner. Okay? Christ said, I didn't come for the righteous, I came for the sinner, that he can be saved. But in this scripture, God isn't talking about the sinner. He said, if my people, which are called by my name, not who, which, the body of Christ. This is who this applies to. He says, humble themselves, and God knows a lot of us have that humility. You can rout us, you can embarrass us, you can do all sorts of stuff, and we'll say back to you, God bless you, and move on about our ways. We'll feed you, we'll make sure that you're okay, because we just have that in us, a lot of us. And pray. I say a lot of times to Christians, I say, listen, don't spend too much time praying, because you'll change that word from P-R-A-Y to P-R-E-Y if you don't get up out of that position. If you ever look at a person in prayer, they keep this position. And if you ever look at an execution's position, it's the same position, right? So you can if you don't get up and put on your armor and go out there and fight your war, you can become the prey, okay? Just a side note to this, but anyway. He says, and seek my face, get my advice, get my directions, hear what I have to say, and turn from their wicked ways. What does God mean when he say from their wicked ways? Typical Christian will say fornication, homosexuality, murder. We know those three. But that's not all it is that's wicked in the sight of God. Because the first thing he told us, have no other God beside me. That's the first commandment he put out. Everything else comes after that. But in Cayman, we have chosen a politician over God. We have chosen the dark enterprise over God. We have chosen the rich lawyers over God. We have chosen everything. And I'm going to show you something else about this. The West Bay Primary School is named the Johnny Cumber Primary School. Let me start in West Bay, because that's where I come from. And charity begins at home, but so does discipline too. All right? The Sir Johnny Cumber Primary School, named after a man. Why is that important to observe? Because the Cayman Islands has a motto that says, he has founded it upon the seas. We say that God is the creator of the earth and all that's in it, and the Cayman Islands is a nation of Christian values. Those Christian values then should encapsulate God in all of his magnificence, right? If we're going to declare that God is God of this nation, then we need to declare what this nation is. It's the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands is divided into 3 islands, and in those 3 islands, there are different districts. One of those districts happens to be West Bay. But the name of my West Bay Primary School is now Sir John A. Cumber Primary School. It's not the West Bay Primary School which gives me and gives my offspring a patriotic sense of existence. It is reverence unto a man, Sir John A. Cumber. So where is your national acknowledgement? All right? We want people to be patriotic. Patriotic to what? Even at primary school, you're being taught you give reverence unto man. That's not only primary school. You have the John Clark, you have the Edna Moyle, you have the McCoy. Why are we naming our institutions after man? I had an aspiration to attend the Cayman Islands Law School. I wanted my certificate to say the Cayman Islands Law School. I had a dream of being a lawyer from the time I was 15. I graduated from the Truman Borden Law School. My certificate does not proclaim the Cayman Islands as a nation.
You're on cue for break time.
Thank you.
Back with more talk today, right after this.
It's the right time and this is the place to be.
Give your space a refresh with the spring saving sale this April at Thomason Furniture and Mattress Gallery. Sofas, sectionals, and love seats take 20% off the lowest price. 3-piece queen bedroom sets in solid wood take 20% off. 5-piece dining sets, TV stands, coffee tables, and wall shelves take 20% off. Sheets, pillows, fragrance warmers, and sprays take 15% off. Great savings on mattresses, foundations, and frames. Indoor and outdoor furniture. The spring saving sale, in-store only, all April long at Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery at Tomlinson Building, Walkers Road. Check our Facebook or Instagram for sale flyer details.
It's the right time and this is the place to be.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Listening to the general public. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Because
There are more questions than answers.
Waiting to take your calls right now.
What the public is saying.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And again, pleased to have in studio from the Christian Association of Civics, Miss Katina Anglin, here discussing a few different topics related to the Constitution, both from the preamble side, which we covered earlier in the show, and then the Bill of Rights, specifically related to the Christian values and the socioeconomic framework of the Cayman Islands and the role of the church in how Cayman moves forward. So, Ms. Katina, one of the comments you made earlier was in relation to recognizing other gods.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Mm-hmm.
So the first part of the preamble of the Constitution states a God-fearing country based on traditional Christian values, tolerant of other religions and beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that preamble statement factor into your comment?
Okay, so if we look at the word God in God-fearing, you see that it is a capital G. Yes. It is the name of. And then it goes on to say traditional Christian values. So it's the God of Christ.
Yes.
Right? Which then you could just say, Jehovah based. So that there would be no confusion about what this really means in God. But because God is a God of choice, Article 10 or Section 10 of our Constitution speaks about religious beliefs, the freedom to have religious beliefs. Not everybody believes in God. Believing in God is optional. That's your choice. I won't ever dare try to force anybody to believe in Jehovah, in Jesus Christ, or in the Holy Spirit. That is something that they need to seek and arrive at. On their own, I only responsible for making them aware that Jehovah exists, that Jesus Christ died on the cross, and that the Holy Spirit is on this earth until it withdraws from this earth before the third coming of Christ. This is actually the third coming. You hear everybody talking about the second coming of Christ, but nobody really ever talks about the third coming of Christ.
You'll have to share this history lesson with me another day.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a third coming either.
Yeah. So that's We'll talk about that more. There's a second coming in the rapture and the third coming when he comes back. So, whether or not you choose to believe in Jehovah, in Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, that's all your choice. It doesn't change the fact that those three beings exist and they form the Godhead, kingdom of heaven, right? I only here to tell you the truth. If you choose to believe it, you believe it, and then you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you get everlasting life. Or you heard it, you don't believe it, Christ's still going to come, right? But instead of reaping a reward, you're going to pay for rejecting him. That's what that's about, right? But I was talking just now about idolatry, where the church has fallen.
If I could ask, we do have one caller on the line. Would you like to take the caller for a minute? Do you have enough time?
Sure.
Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
I just
afternoon,
ask you to
sir.
make it very brief, just so Mr. Katina only has another 4 minutes left in the segment.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quick. I just want to offer my condolences to the McCarter family, passing of Uncle Bill. May God bless his soul in heaven. My condolences to the wife, Miss Debbie, to Mr. William, to the leader of the opposition, to Mr. Roy McCarter, to Miss Lisa, Miss Patty Sue, to the whole family, McCarter family. We lose a good man who gave too much for this country. He will be missed, and he will be remembered forever. And may God bless his soul in heaven. And I am saying hello to your guest, and I wish her the best in what she's doing. Thank you, and you have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Katina, I guess about 5 more minutes left for you.
So if another caller calls and I get an extension of time?
Unfortunately not. I don't get to control the schedule.
But, okay, so I was talking about idolatry in the country, all right? You see, if we are not heralding, if we are not proclaiming the word of God in all ways, if we are raising up altars unto men, and that's what they are.
Sure.
All right? Make no mistake about it. We're raising up altars unto men. This is the same thing that he called Gideon out. And he said, Gideon, first job I'm going to give you is go cut down those altars that have been erected to false gods. When we take men as though they are gods, we are running afoul of God. And the church, I believe, is more guilty of this today than even the politician. And allow me to say why. The church and its members have attended ceremonies where our primary schools are dedicated in the names of individuals in the country. I'm not saying that these individuals aren't worthy of recognition, but not worthy in recognition to the extent where your name goes on a public education building. Because that public education system belongs to the Cayman Islands and its people. Don't belong to you. And let me tell you how you got here. You got here because God created the Cayman Islands. We accepted him as our Lord and God. We put it in our preamble. We put it in our constitution. We put it in our coat of arms. It's all about God. But yet, we herald the name of men. And I know I'm going to catch some flack about this.
Possibly a little bit.
Listen, it already, I assure you, it already happening, right?
The question I have,
but
sorry,
when the church participates in removing the name of God in a way, when it participates in blocking the glory of God, and God says, you can't steal my glory. Then, and if judgment begins within the church, boy, we in a hell of a mess. Okay?
But what about the naming of roads? Like, we name roads after individuals as well.
Let me first finish one thought that I on here.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to show you how idolatrous that the church has become. There is the John Gray Memorial Church. Still down in West Bay, because that's where I come from. Could he have had the hall? The hall, if you built the hall out of your pocket, that's fine. But which John Gray saved in a soul in this country? Why are you memorializing? And I'm going to catch it. I know I'm going to catch it. But I'm not worried about that, because God sent me here with this message, and I only putting it out there, and if you want to row and fight, you go fight with God. Which John Gray or which Robert Young saved in a body soul you memorializing men and the work that they did in this country? Because as far as I know, John Gray never saved nobody's soul. Robert Young didn't do it either. Joanne Clark may have taught a lot of students, but she didn't create them. Nor did Clifton Hunter, nor did John Gray. Incredibly, we still have the Health Services Authority, Cayman Islands Health Services Authority, that we take care of the sick people, so we get stuck with the bill for that, right? The Cayman Islands responsible for that. But when it comes down to talk about our national pride, giving reverence unto God for being the creator of this country, we give it away to some other man. Listen, that is idolatry that even the church is too blind to see. But God not happy with it. He not happy with it, and he not happy with the way that Christians, those who are called by his name, participate in the celebration, the idolatrous celebration. And there's another thing. When we get together at Christmas time, and we sing this song, "Oh Christmas tree, God won't know which Christmas tree ever saved you." Did you give Lord applause, creed and credit to a tree that God created? So if this country is really a nation of Christian values, we need to start making it obvious. Because so far, what it is that is God is seeing is he hearing the prayers come up, and he's saying, look, I don't even want to hear them, because you're not turned from your wicked ways. You still carrying on with your idolatry down there. And the worst part about it is this. We wrote it into our Constitution. We enshrined it in our Constitution. But yet, we affront God with our idolatry. It is my prayer that every Christian in this country turn from their wicked ways. Put our focus back on God. Listen, I have to go to God often. I have to ask God, did I offend you today? Show me how I offended you today, that I can ask your forgiveness and turn away from it. I am like many other people in this country. I fall down, I slip, but I have to go back to God. But I have to ask him for his forgiveness. I have to make it a habit to turn from my wicked ways. And if we want God to hear and answer our prayers, we do all those things. But we have to turn from our wicked ways. Stop clubbing on Saturday night, shouting out Beyonce, throwing your two hands in the air, and then come to church on Sunday morning and throw your two hands in the air and holler hallelujah. God bless this Cayman Islands and every human being that's in it. And may we continue to pursue the kingdom of God and all its righteousness and turn from our wicked ways. I have said it. I am at peace with God. And I don't care, honestly, who it offended today, because I am at peace. I brought the message. Amen.
Ms. Katina, you speak with a lot of passion. Always a pleasure to have you on. On that note, we do need to go to our 1 p.m. headline news. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Thank you again. I appreciate you coming in. On that note, let's go to our 1 p.m. headline news. When we come back, we'll be sitting down with the teams from the Cayman Business Development Center and DCI. Back with more talk today, right after this.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankins-Ollins. Public Health is now offering the 4th dose booster to persons 18 years and over who received their 3rd dose more than 6 months ago. When receiving your 2nd, 3rd, or 4th dose, bring along your vaccination card and or MyHSA digital vaccine certificate reflecting your previous doses. In international news, a federal judge in Florida has struck down the Biden administration's mask mandate for airplanes and other forms of public transit, calling it unlawful. U.S. District Judge Catherine Kimball Mizell said the National Public Health Agency had exceeded its legal powers in issuing the mandate. The U.S. Transit Authority said it would now no longer enforce mask wearing. A Kentucky man has been awarded $450,000 US after his company threw him a surprise birthday party, despite his warnings that it would trigger stress and anxiety. The plaintiff, Kevin Burling, claims that the unwanted 2019 birthday party at Gravity Diagnostics caused him a series of panic attacks. Mr. Burling's lawsuit alleged that the company discriminated against him based on a disability. The company has denied any wrongdoing. Actor Johnny Depp is expected to take the stand on Tuesday in his $50 million defamation trial against ex-wife Amber Heard, who he accuses of sullying his reputation. The lawsuit is over an opinion piece Ms. Heard wrote for The Washington Post, in which she calls herself a victim of domestic violence. He denies any abuse. Ms. Heard has filed a counterclaim. The closely watched civil trial, which is taking place in Virginia, is now in its 2nd week. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankins-Ollins.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listening to the general public.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Because
There are more questions than answers.
waiting to take your calls right now.
What the public is saying.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and pleased to have in studio now 2 distinct groups, both involved with helping our entrepreneurs really drive and succeed here in Cayman. We have from the Business Development Center, Ms. Althea West Myers, and from the Department of Commerce and Investment, Ms. Jessica Pollack. Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
So the reason why we wanted to coordinate this segment is a lot of times, one, small businesses really become the lifeblood of the community. In many communities, small communities, big communities, small businesses, micro businesses, the entrepreneurial drive drives most economies around the world. Here in Cayman is no different. We see so many people, so many small businesses start up. The tricky part of that is we see a lot of small businesses that actually wind up closing down. And that's not just because of COVID over the past few years. That's been historical. So a lot of times small businesses struggle out the gate for various number of reasons, from cash flow issues to hiring issues to legal issues to rent issues. There's the supply chain management issues. There's so many issues that can really catch a small business off guard, and you don't have the leeway to get through it. Today's show, though, is to talk a bit about some of the steps, some of the tips that we can help share with the community for any of those aspiring entrepreneurs that are coming up through the pipeline who haven't yet found their footing and are looking to get up there, to really figure out how to navigate the process, which to me looks a bit confusing. Now that's you on the inside looks like nice and easy, but me on the outside can be a little daunting, a scary task when you start looking at forms, and I can't fill out forms to save my life. So you ask me to fill out a TBL form for my trade and business license, I can't do it. But let's first start with DCI. Can you tell us a bit about the function of DCI for the community?
Yeah, so DCI's function really is a licensing and a regulatory body for government, right? So we're responsible for the licensing aspect of trade and business. So if you want to start your business, DCI is where you go to apply and go through that formal process of getting your license to be able to trade in the Cayman Islands.
So the next question, this was actually something you answered for me the other day, which caught me completely off guard. But what is the difference between incorporating a company and getting a trade and business license?
So the trade and business license is what allows you to trade, right? So you're applying to the Trade and Business Board to be able to operate your business in the Cayman Islands. If you're going to incorporate your company, that's a general registry function.
So incorporating a company doesn't mean I can actually operate that company?
No. So incorporating your company, this is a general registry question, so I hope that I do it justice. But if you're incorporating your company, there's a formal process to go through with general registry to be able to incorporate that company. But then once you have those documents, now you can come to Department of Commerce and Investment to apply to be able to trade.
So if I could put it in context of driving a car, I can go and buy that car. I can register it so it can be roadworthy, but I can't drive that car without a driver's license. Is that somewhere of a comparable for a layman's term for an 18-year-old looking at it going, I want to start a company?
Maybe. So if you wanted to register your company, right, you have to go through a formal process through general registry. So you go through that process and you say, this is my company. So, for example, if I wanted to set up a holding company or a registered company, I'd say Jessica Pollock Limited. I'd need to go register that company with general registry. Once I have all my corporate documents now, I can take those documents and go to DCI and say, hey, here's my application. Here's all of my company documents that shows that I'm an official registered company with general registry. And here's my fee. And now I would like to set up this company to be able to operate and trade in the Cayman Islands.
Caught me off the guard. I'm good.
Good.
I'm good now. I'm good. I know the process now. Miss Althea, the Business Development Center. Tell us a bit about what you do.
Our primary mission is to develop businesses. So, small businesses like to say, or people like to say of small businesses that small businesses can't, and small businesses can't, and small businesses can't. We are here to ensure that small businesses can. So our role is to ensure that when businesses start, you spoke a while ago to the number of business failure, and that's across the world.
Of course.
The general statistic in the sphere is that 80% of small businesses fail within 2 years. There has not really been any proof of that, but that is the general statistic. So the failure rates are high. So what we try to do, our role, our mandate is to ensure that those failures are not necessarily what is expected. So a business starts, you come into us, we can help you, as we like to say, the range from concept to market. So we help you to generate ideas or to determine where problems lie that need a solution, because businesses are more likely to succeed when they are actually solving a problem. So we help you from that point, what problem can I solve, into getting you into an actual market, So right across the range, from the moment you're just thinking about a business, you're a startup, you're an existing business, and you have not really leveled up. So you have existed for 2 years and you've continued to operate over the years in the same way that you've been operating. No change, no real growth. We get in, we help you with training, we help you with consulting, coaching. We help you with designing your business model, understanding how to validate the business model to ensure that you actually are making or have potential to make revenue. We help you to understand, what the market looks like, and how, for example, how do I potentially get into an export market, that kind of thing. So we also operate an incubator, a business incubator, where we have, as it is now, 16 persons resident on our space.
Yes.
We're actually hand-holding them to ensure that over a 24-month period, to help them to grow and to bring them to the space where they can actually pitch for investment. So we have a mentorship program as well, where we have identified people who are successful entrepreneurs, who have a certain amount of professional expertise, who will also help these 16 residents, or generally any of our clients who are at a place where they require mentorship, to handhold them through to ensure that this failure doesn't happen. So our purpose is really just to help businesses to survive and thrive.
The 16 businesses that are involved in your incubator program, did those businesses launch and then join the incubator program?
They existed before. Most of them. There were a few that were in stage of infancy, new startups, but most were already operating. Well, that's not some. Startup has various stages, right? So some were at idea stage, and some were in the process of starting up. That we help them. We still regard them as startups because once you have not validated your business model, you're still regarded as a startup, right? So we were helping them to do that.
So if a group of kids, 20-year-olds, want to start up a company, don't know the steps just yet, is that the good time they should be coming to see you, or should they be going to set up their business license and incorporate their company and then come see you afterwards?
We don't necessarily advocate that, because you need to know, for example, that's a very traditional approach to entrepreneurship, I would say. You go and register and then you come. What you need to do, first of all, is to determine whether or not there is a demand for your product or service. Really, if you don't want to get into the expense of really doing all of what it takes to set up a business and probably build a product before you actually determine whether or not anybody is going to buy. The most important thing about business development is a growing market base. So if you don't have a growing market base, you don't have a product, you don't have a business. So you have to ascertain that first, and we'll help you to determine whether do you have a market, first of all, and what's the potential for that market to grow. We'll help you to make that determination prior to your even going to set up, because you may be setting up a business that really doesn't have the required demand.
Interesting. I like that. Thank you so much. On that note, let's go to our commercial break. When we come back, Jessica, we'll jump back over to you with DCI and really deep dive into what DCI does.
Sure.
Back with more Talk Today right after this.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walkers Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
OceanMed is thrilled to announce the opening of the OceanMed Family Health Clinic. Joining the renowned Women's Health Clinic, OceanMed Family Health provides pediatrics, general practice care, and imaging facilities for all the family. Feel at ease with our team of highly trained professionals in a state-of-the-art facility conveniently located on the second floor of Bayshore Mall. To book an appointment at our new Family Health Clinic, visit oceanmed.ky or call us on 946-2326.
Are you a Caymanian status holder or a resident of the Cayman Islands who is interested in enhancing transparency, accountability, ethical standards, and promoting awareness in public bodies? If you are civic-minded with the highest level of integrity, the Commission's Secretariat, on behalf of His Excellency the Governor, welcomes your expression of interest for appointment to the various statutory commissions. For more information on the commissions and candidate qualifications, visit the Commission's Secretariat website at www.commissionssecretariat.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And in case you're only now just tuning in, we have in studio from the Department of Commerce and Investment, Miss Jessica Pollock, and from the Cayman Business Development Center, Miss Althea West Myers. Jessica, we're going to turn this conversation back to you and DCI. So, I'm a 20-year-old right now. My 20-year-old hat on. I'm getting out of my associate's degree. I'm looking at the world and I want to tackle it. And I want to start up a digital marketing company. There's a lot of those out there. A a lot of 20-year-olds looking at the landscape going, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that. What is the process now? So I got to go over to set up the actual incorporation of the company. What does that roughly cost to do on the incorporation side? Do you know roughly the cost on that side?
I don't have that information. But once they're applying, so if they're going to do their registered company, right now for micro businesses, we have the micro business incentive that's in place. So it's $75 if you want to get your trade and business license. So whether that is a registered company or whether that is a sole trader application. So you're 20 years old, you want to start your digital marketing company, you want to do it as a sole trader, you want to do it as a registered company, $75. And obviously there's two different processes. So if you're a sole trader, you're going to do your application and then your proof of Caymanian status, and then you're $75. And as a registered company, you need to provide your company docs, your proof of Caymanian status, and your application. And there is some stipulations. Well, in this particular case, for the digital marketing, you wouldn't need any of the Port Authority or health services because it's not related to those things. So that's all that you would need in your example of the digital marketing.
That one sole example. Now I'm going to start firing off a whole bunch of different examples.
Oh, boy. Okay. I'll see if I can keep up.
So the sole trader route, the benefits of going the sole trader route versus the registered company route, is there a benefit to either one?
No, not really. I mean, if you have a registered company, that means that you've gone through the formal process with general registry, right? So you have to provide your annual returns and all of your corporate company documents to show that the company has been registered with them. But the sole trader, it's just you trading as digital marketing guru, So it would be your name and then trading as digital marketing guru.
But I still would need to have that incorporated with.
No, not for a sole trader. You don't have to have to go through the process. Yes, with because it's just you trading. You're the sole trader.
I'm the sole trader.
That person. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Of that company.
Can a sole trader eventually hire staff?
Yes.
Oh, they can.
They can. Mm-hmm.
See, I'm learning a whole bunch of new stuff today. So I wanted to have this show because if I don't know this information, guarantee there's a bunch of 20-year-olds who have no idea.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay, so the sole trader route. So as the micro business, you mentioned there's a $75.
Yep. So it's $75 right now for the application process.
If
you're a micro business.
And what determines a micro business?
Less than 3 employees.
Okay. So as long as a sole trader doesn't employ more than
then
two other staff.
You would fall into that category, yes, for micro businesses. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there any liability differences between being a sole trader or being?
From what perspective?
Oh, I'm just curious why you wouldn't have to incorporate.
There are legal liabilities. Sole trader, you don't take on the. So you are the business, and the business is you.
Yes.
For a registered business, then they are separate legally. So if the business, for example, gets bankrupt, then all of the liabilities become the businesses. They never transfer to you. So they are two separate legal entities, for example. That's just one.
But in the sole trader route, you become the liable entity.
Right. So you and the business are one. Yeah.
All right. So incorporate the company. So very clearly, so in case you missed that one, there is the liability factor of if you incorporate your company versus going the sole trader route, the liability falls on the separate entity of that company, not yourself. You're not owning that responsibility. Okay, I'm just going to wrap my head around that one. As far as the process of completing the application and determining what license you should be applying for, does DCI offer guidance on that? Is there somewhere on the website that can help offer? If I want to start up a sports and advertising company, is that 2 different licenses I need? Is it one license is there an umbrella license that can kind of cover a few different similar routes, or how does that work?
So the Act kind of outlines the schedule of the different application types and the categories. So we're guided by the Act.
The Act?
The law. So
okay.
We've moved from law to Act now, so I'm trying to get into the habit of saying Act. But yes, so the Trade and Business Act, or law, outlines the different categories that we have and then the fees that are associated with those.
Okay.
So, for example, you mentioned sports advertising. So it's specific to advertising. There's a category that you would be able to fall into. I think oftentimes persons want to do multiple different things along with their their license, and there has to be a separate license for each different type of service that you are offering. So, for example, if I wanted to do automotive, I was a mechanic shop, and then I decided, oh well, I want to rent some scooters as well. I would need 2 separate trade and business licenses for that, one for the mechanic shop and one for the rental of the scooters.
All right. So it can add up pretty quick depending on how diversified of a business I want to run.
Yeah, it depends, you know.
Yeah, no,
it depends
course,
what you want to do, but yes, there has to be separation, right? So you're offering
Sure.
2 different types of businesses, so 2 different licenses that go along with that.
Okay. As far as and that $75 fee applies to every license that you're applying for.
Correct.
Now, the current micro business $75 fee, is that in place for the rest of this year? Or how?
Yes, it is.
Is there any thought process of that's going to end in the future, or will that be a stable thing going forward, do you think? I know it's tough to guess. So.
Well, that's not that's not to be determined by DCI. You know,
No,
so we would defer to the ministry on
Sure.
that.
So if you are going to get a company going.
Yes, now is a great time.
Now's a great time to do it.
Now's a great time,
absolutely,
if you're a micro business, to be able to say, hey, I want to pay my $75 and get my license. But I definitely recommend that you go to CBD first and make sure that you know if there's a market for your business and if there is a demand for it, and then getting those skills to be able to properly run a business. I think those are crucial things that you do first.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then where does it, when it comes, and I think this is probably a question for General Registry, but perhaps you can help Ms. Athia, the incorporation documents for the company. If this is not going to be something you can help me with. Fair enough. So it's one of those big ones. I've seen some of those incorporation bundles, and they're quite extensive. And I started thinking it's not that simple of a process for someone to do on their own. Is this something that we're looking at attorneys having to fill out?
They do have a portal, and they do have, because they did a presentation with us recently, they do have a portal that you can actually go on and navigate. It's not hard to navigate at all. And they have persons that if you come upon issues or concerns, that you can always call in, and somebody will answer and give you directives. But it's not as difficult. The portal is not difficult to navigate.
Okay, so this is for General Registry.
Yes. Right.
And this is actually to fill out your incorporation documents and get even, not to file the returns, but the actual, when you want to start up a company.
Right.
Right. Oh, wow, okay.
They very recent, I think September of last year, that they started this portal.
Oh, good. So theoretically, is there a need, it's always wise to have an attorney do a lot of things for you, but the reality is it could be cost prohibitive to start a process with a limited cash flow and pay an attorney at the same time to start the company before you can even start trading. Theoretically, though, a 20-year-old coming out that wants to start that social media company and wants to incorporate that company can just go on to General Registry, follow the process, complete the incorporation documents, pay their fee, hop on over to DCI, fill out their social media or their digital advertising license, pay the $75 fee, hop on over to your office, Ms. Althea, and then get all the advice they need.
Well, we'd hope they'd hop on over to us before they
Sure, you start with you first, and then go over to General Registry.
Right.
Fair enough. What is the landscape right now for digital advertising?
For digital advertising in particular.
Is it heavily saturated?
It is heavily saturated. Quite a number of persons are involved. Any kind of digital media or any kind of digital company right now is very, very popular, and this space is saturated, but it doesn't mean that you can come in and do well. A lot of it depends on your personal competencies. Entrepreneurship really speaks to personal competencies, entrepreneurial mindset. That's what makes a difference. So even if you are doing something that somebody else is doing or other persons are doing, the issue is, what's your mindset like? Where are the competencies? So are you a visionary? All of these things are skills that can be taught and must be harnessed in order to not run a same old kind of company. But in order to harness competitive advantage, you need to understand what it takes to be an effective entrepreneurship. It really, as I say, an effective entrepreneur rather, it really takes 3 hats. Most persons who are entrepreneurs come in with technical expertise, and that's where it ends. And you're never going to run a business effectively if you only have technical competence. or technical expertise, you need to wear an entrepreneurial hat as well as a managerial hat. You need to step away from a technical expertise and allow that you delegate that eventually. And then you harness your entrepreneurial competencies and your managerial competencies in order to be able to create a vision, one, and then manage the key performance metrics that are going to tell you whether or not you're doing well, kind of thing. So it doesn't matter what business you go into. Obviously, the more saturated the market is, the smaller your particular market size is going to be. But still, you can, if you have the right competencies, the right dream, the right mindset, you can still come in and gain competitive advantage and do better than many others who are actually practicing prior to you going in.
Step on in, show your dominance, lay your footprint, and take over.
Absolutely.
That's the way to do it, right? That's business, right?
I suppose.
Theoretically, right? That's how Apple did it. Just showed up. So, Jessica, are you able to offer us any kind of, only got a few minutes left before you got to go, I know. You have an eagle-eyed view of the landscape of the diversity of trade and business licenses that are coming in on that micro-business size. Are there heavier than normal areas where you're seeing more licenses come in?
Well, what I would say is when I joined DCI in 2020, so we're in the middle of COVID and everything else, but we saw a historical number of licenses in 2020 where DCI processed over 14,000 licenses. I think in the month of July alone, we saw 1,000 more grant applications. So people saw the need or the desire to own their own business. And then we had another historical year last year that we processed 15,000. So the number is constantly growing. And I think that's great. That means that there are persons that are going out there that say, I want to be an entrepreneur for myself. And I can't reiterate more that it's so important to make sure that you have those key skills so that your business can be successful. So I'm a very big advocate of CDB. But some of the areas that we're seeing, just from a licensing perspective, there's different areas that are growing every day. One of the biggest ones that we see is janitorial. A lot of car wash persons. So persons that are just seeing a need and saying, you know what, I'm going to put my hat in the ring and I'm going to try to make this business work, But we're seeing a lot of new entrepreneurs, we're seeing constant flow of new grant applications, of not renewals, but just their brand new applications, brand new businesses that are coming out every single month. And that's a good thing. That means that business is booming in Cayman. But, it's so important to make sure that you have the tools necessary to be able to maintain and to keep that business successful.
And that's where Miss Althea comes in. Come see Miss Althea first.
Yeah, that's what should happen. But the truth is that what we've found out when it comes to the field of business development is that it's not something that is persons' desire, really, because people it's really, as I like to say, it's almost contradictory. I become an entrepreneur because I want to be independent. I know what I'm doing. I'm my own boss. So then why would I go to a business development center but really is basically telling me that I don't know what I'm doing, kind of thing. So it really is, it creates some kind of contradictions. But we found that persons don't value business development necessarily in itself. Like to say, if you're not giving us money, what are you for, kind of thing. They don't understand the value that is inherent in the field of business development. Once you understand, the road of business development, the likelihood of your failing is far less.
You're absolutely right.
Far less, but people have not yet grasped that, and that's one of the challenges we face as a center. Outside of a grant program, we know we've run a grant program since COVID, 2 years. So we are now left with repositioning in the center. So we are not about grant. We're not primarily or only about grants. We are into a holistic business development. We are here to help you to understand your business, understand the market, understand the role you play, understand the person you must become in order to effectively run a business. That's our role. But most persons have not yet grasped the value of this kind of service. So that's one of the things that we're tackling this year in terms of repositioning and helping people to understand the need, and the value of business development. as a service.
We're going to explore more of that after this commercial break. Jessica, thank you so much for taking the time to come in on your busy day. I do appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
If anyone has any questions for you or for the DCI team, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can send us an email at info@dci.gov.ky. Everybody can do their applications online. Their trade and business applications can be done online, or one of our friendly customer service associates will be happy to help you at the counter. But if you need more information, all of our forms have been updated, and all of the information that you need is on dci.gov.ky.
Thank you so much for coming in. Enjoy
Thank
the
you
rest
very
of your
much
day.
for having me. I appreciate it.
On that note, we're going to go to our 1:30 commercial break. When we come back, we'll be continuing the conversation with Miss Althea from the Cayman Business Development Center. Back with more Talk Today right after this.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Subway is serving up a special new sauce, bursting with flavor in every bite. The new Savory Collection is a tropical sweet and spicy sauce made with a combination of spices, habanero peppers, thyme, onion, black pepper, ginger, citrus juices, and molasses.
So good. Wow. Sensational. Delicious.
Subway's Savory Collection pairs perfectly with our oven roasted chicken or steak sub. Savor the flavor. For a limited time, only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
Raising children is costly. That is why each year the Ministry of Education provides, through its Early Childhood Assistance Program, funding to assist Caymanian children to attend an early childhood center. For early childhood funding assistance, call the Early Childhood Care and Education Unit at 244-3155 or 936-0267, or download an application form from the Ministry's website at www.gov.ky/education and email the completed form to ecap@gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Miss Jessica Pollock had to head on back over to DCI, but we are still graced with the presence of Miss Althea West Myers, the director of the Cayman Business Development Center. This whole hour has been dedicated to helping guide entrepreneurs on how to avoid some of the pitfalls when it comes to launching their business. Tips from DCI on what they should be looking out for on the regulatory side, and then now, Ms. Althea, focusing more on the business coaching side of it for entrepreneurs. You mentioned the 3 hats that business owners should have. In case someone's just tuning in, walk us through those 3 hats again.
All right, so each business owner should really wear 3 hats. And this is not my original idea. I've always said that entrepreneurs wear too many hats, really, but there are 3 that they ought to wear, and most of them come in wearing the hat of the technical expert.
Sure.
So, hey, I am I'm a software developer, or I am an architect. I have those, and that's what made me want to start a business. So I have technical expertise.
Sure.
Then there is the hat that's for the entrepreneur, the entrepreneurial hat that most never put on. So to be the entrepreneur, you have to be the dreamer. You have to be the one with the vision. You have to be the leader. You have to be the one who is going to be, creative, the one who is going to come with the ideas, the one who is going to be willing to risk it, the one who's going to be seeking opportunities. That's what makes you an entrepreneur, right? The one who sees what other people don't see, the one who is able to see a garbage pile and actually see a development,
Sure.
That's what makes an entrepreneur. Then there's the managerial hat that you must wear. In this case, no, you are the person who knows what metrics to measure. What am I looking for? How do I know if my business is growing? What price should I be charging? What changes should I make? And when those changes are made, how do I manage that? What exactly am I looking for? How do I know that my business is growing, as I said? So you actually, should I be measuring cost? Should I be measuring price? Should I be measuring how many times persons come in, what time of day do they come in, what colors will my staff wear, create the most impact. The tiniest things, that's what the manager does. He understands, he looks for trends, he understands where the changes happen, he understands where the biggest impact happens, and then he recommends those to the entrepreneur. What can we do with this? The technical expert is the one who keeps it going for a while, because he understands what happens on the ground. But then he must eventually let go of doing the everyday work in order to work, as we say, on the business and not in the business. Because if you continue to work in the business, as I like to say, you continue to be an employee and you're going to be paid as an employee. Your business will not make you enough money because you're doing no visioning, you're doing no management. You are just an employee. So you constantly make the money of an employee, the same amount of money you made when you were working as a employee for somebody else.
Sure.
The business can only thrive as you put on the hat of an entrepreneur, and you start to vision, you start to dream, you start to risk, you start to seek opportunities. That's when you actually, business starts to grow. And if you remain a technical expert and only wear that hat, you're actually limiting the potential of your business to grow. Unfortunately, most persons who open a business because they want to be independent, because they want to be their own boss, and that satisfies them. So far as they are gaining the kind of income that they had before, and they have their freedom, they're okay with that.
They're okay with that.
Some people are okay, and there are some persons who have what we call a side hustle, and side hustle really is just an additional income. And as so far as I can gain additional income, no matter how irregularly or randomly,
whatever that extra is.
Right, I'm okay because it gives me additional income, and I have a business, and I can say I'm an entrepreneur. But in actual fact, you are not an entrepreneur. You have additional income. You have a side hustle that gives you additional income. So the question always is, what will it be? Am I going to be a business owner? Am I going to be an entrepreneur? Because they're not the same. Am I going to have a side hustle? You need to make up your mind and determine if it's in it, and there's nothing wrong with either of those.
No, that's
it depends on what you want to out of the whole experience.
Absolutely.
And we are here actually to give assistance to everybody, but we really want to see people climb the entrepreneurship ladder, because the more entrepreneurial you are, the more potential a business has for earning, the more likely it will impact the economic development. So we don't just want to build a group of persons who are self-employed, and that's good. We really want to build businesses that have potential to impact economic growth. And that's what our mission is at the center. That's what we're here to do.
Absolutely. Ms. Athia, we do have one caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Hey, good afternoon to you both. I tuned in a little late, unfortunately. It was just before the 1:30 break, and I think the representative from DCI has left. There was a question for that person, but I also want to speak to Ms. Althea. So I'll still ask the DCI question just in case she's listening, or she may, or she may have said it. However, what the question was, I heard her mention that the DCI had been seeing an unprecedented amount of trade and business applications. She mentioned 14,000 in 2020 and 15,000 last year.
Correct.
Yeah, now my question pertaining to that is, do the DCI, do they monitor or check, for instance, how many people we have in this particular field, and are we perhaps saturating the market? And I'm speaking right now specifically of two businesses that seem to be, we seem to be overrun with mobile car wash facilities. It's like almost every van you see on the road has a mobile car wash sign. And the other one is janitorial companies. There are just so many. And this isn't anything to do with the entrepreneurial side of it and whether the people are going to make money. This is just whether, as an island, a country, do we have too many? I'd say right off that we have too many mobile car washes. I don't think it's certainly some businesses are suffering. Anyway, that was it on those two. Do they monitor and do they think about market saturation? No, for Ms. Alvia there in the small business development, I really wanted to speak of something too that's specific. And this particular small business is established. It's way past the 2-year mark, and it has made it and is making it, and all indications is that it will continue to grow. Two problems. The owner has not kept good bookkeeping records, hardly any accounting records. Do you all offer any assistance like that? I know that they're the ones you can just buy, like QuickBooks, and there's another one, I can't remember what it's called, but I'm sure there are many of the package types that you can buy and just install on your computer to help you with this. But if, for instance, the business has been operating for 3 or 4 years and no real accounting records have been kept, how does one deal with that, and do you offer any sort of assistance in that area? And the other question was about incorporation. The business that I'm referring to has operated as a sole proprietorship, trading as, with just a trading business license being renewed every year. Never been incorporated. And it's astounding the variation in the cost to incorporate. And I know that if a person is knowledgeable enough, they can most likely incorporate it themselves if they have a set of memo and arts. So those two things, I wondered if you give any guidance, assistance, any sort of help with the incorporation and the accounting.
Well, yes, we do provide assistance with the accounting, first of all. But it makes me wonder, though, I just want to throw back a question at you. How do you know a business is growing if you have no records?
It's really obvious. Hey,
in terms of the market?
The market, there's more jobs, there's more money coming in, the bank account looks really good. It would be absolutely fine unless and until the day comes that you need to approach an institution for money, or if you're trying to sell a part of your business or something, then obviously you would need you would have to be able to produce something. But no question, undoubtedly.
But let's be clear, though. Just because the cash is flowing through the business doesn't mean it's profitable. But I'm not going to go into that. You've determined that it is profitable and it's growing. Yes, but we will help you with your financial statements. We'll help you to get those together. But more importantly, we will help you with strategic financing, because financing growth is not the same thing as just understanding what your records look like. If your business is growing, then you need to be in a position where you actually are able to finance that growth. And there are many options for that. My suggestion is, before you get into incorporating, and we can provide guidance and provide you connections to get you incorporated. We don't do it ourselves, that's General Registry. But before you get to that place where you actually go incorporate, I would suggest you actually get the financing done. We'll help you through that and help you to, actually have a strategic approach to financing your business and to financing that growth. So you don't just go in and for example, take a loan without understanding, what your bottom line looks like and that kind of thing, and whether or not the business can manage to pay back a loan. So all of those assessments should be done prior to your, just going in and incorporating.
Okay, so next question. How do we get in touch with you and start to line up some of this good stuff?
Oh, so we are at West Bay Road. We are Baytown Plaza. Do you know the plaza where KFC is on one end? We are at the other end of that plaza, Suite 101, Baytown Plaza.
Okay, stop in.
So if you want to reach us by email, cicbd.gov.ky, or you could always call us at 244-8009 as well.
244-8009?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. All right, and then I guess we can speak about both things, incorporation and, yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Caller, thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
And that's precisely why I wanted to have this interview today, this session, because there are businesses out there who are in similar mindsets. They know their core competency, but the accounting is something that just wasn't part of their.
That's a perennial problem with small businesses, accounting. It's not the only problem. That is the problem that's most fingered, that people point to most readily, because the truth is that most persons, as I say, they go into small business because of a passion or an expertise that they have. Sure. They are passionate about something, they are an expert at something, so they start a business. And they sometimes think they're doing well, but if you actually do the books, you'll find that because they mistake cash flow for profitability, right? Sure. Because money is running through the business, and the money is going into the business bank account. It means that the business is doing well. They're not equal. They don't equate. So that's something that they have to be educated on as well, in terms of and making good management decisions. Financing decisions ought to be strategic. You don't just go and make buying decisions or spending decisions based on just because you think it's a good idea. It has to be. You have to have a strategic approach. I like to say that there's something we call a management framework. There are 4 elements that we like to look at: operations, your markets, and your customers, your financing, as well as operations, market, financing, and I'm not sure what one I'm leaving, but there are 4 elements that we like to look at. So we have a comprehensive approach to managing the business, and sure. Most persons tend to find themselves in a quadrant that is operations. Most entrepreneurs find themselves, or business owners find themselves, in the operations quadrant, and they don't explore the finance at all, like we just spoke of a while ago. They don't explore the customers and markets. And why am I keeping the other element of the quadrant? That's just something I came up with. It's not something that's written anywhere, but sure. An entrepreneur has to have their fingers on every element, so that financing decisions are pointing back to every element in this quadrant.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, on that note, let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll touch on a few more of these areas, including the cash flow again. Back with more talk today, right after this.
It's the right time, and this is the place to be.
Give your space a refresh with the spring saving sale this April at Tomlinson Furniture and Mattress Gallery. Sofas, sectionals, and love seats take 20% off the lowest price. 3-piece queen bedroom sets in solid wood take 20% off. 5-piece dining sets, TV stands, coffee tables, and wall shelves take 20% off. Sheets, pillows, fragrance warmers, and sprays take 15% off. Great savings on mattresses, foundations, and frames. Indoor and outdoor furniture. The spring saving sale, in-store only, all April long at Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery at Tomlinson Building, Walkers Road. Check our Facebook or Instagram for sale flyer details.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean, and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Listen
to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, saying just about 10 more minutes left in this segment with Miss Althea West Myers, the director of the Cayman Business Development Center. So, Miss Althea, just for anyone looking to come in, following up on that caller's question, I'm a new business. I want to start up a new company. Before I go sit down with General Registry and do my incorporation documents, before I sit down with DCI and do my executive business license, I should be coming over to you. Walk me through what happens once I knock on your door.
Once you come into us, first of all, we like to do a diagnostic. So if you're an existing business, we look at what's happening with your business currently. We do that on the 4-point grid I just spoke of. Look at in terms of your management and governance areas, or management and strategy, your production and operations, your markets, and your financing. We look at those 4 areas and we try to determine where the gaps are. Once we establish where the gaps are, then we start helping you to set goals, and determining a strategy for achieving those goals. And that's our whole counseling and coaching to help you to get to those goals. If you're a new business, we do what we call an assessment of the opportunity assessment. So it's an idea, but it's an opportunity. A business idea is not necessarily a business opportunity. An opportunity exists where there is persons who are willing to pay for it. So a business idea, some of them will always remain ideas because there's nobody who's willing, not enough persons who are willing to pay to make it viable. So we determine, first of all, it's an idea, but is it an opportunity? So we help you to determine if that's an opportunity. And once we've determined that there's an opportunity, then we help you to do what we call a business model, designing your business models. So we look at 9 elements, basic elements of a business, and those are critical. Where do you stand, in terms of what channels will you be using? What's your value proposition is the first thing. What are you offering to the market? To whom are you offering it? And you have to be specific. People like to say, hey, everybody. No, that doesn't work. You have to be specific. What does your target market look like? What channels will you be offering it through? How will you be making money? How much will it cost you to do it? Who will you be working with? What are critical equipment that you must have in place? So that's understanding your whole business model, and how that makes money for you. We help you to understand that. Then we ask you to test it. Take it in the space. A business model is validated only so far as there are persons who are willing to pay. Now, persons may not want to go through all of that because, hey, I just want to start a janitorial company, for example. And they just really want to start selling. And I like to say, if you're just buying and selling, you don't have a business. You really don't. You're just trading. If you're just buying raw materials, maybe converting that into a product and selling, or you're converting it into a service and selling, you really don't have a business. You have to be looking at the entire thing, the entire structure. So persons may not understand. As I said to you earlier, we are in the process of repositioning the center so that people can understand the value that we actually offer. I spoke a while ago about value proposition, our own value. People need to see and understand in order to see the difference that we can make in a business. So yes, you come in, we help you to understand what the entire business looks like and how it should look and what it is, what the potential of the business is in terms of the market. Because if a business does not have a growing customer base, you really don't have a business. The caller a while ago spoke to janitorial companies in terms of the market being saturated and mobile car washes. If those companies don't have a growing customer base, and the truth is that some of them have 1, 2, 3 clients, customer base never grows, so they really don't have a business. And are you interested in growing a business? If you're interested in growing a business, sure, that's where we come in. As a matter of fact, we have a program we are actually looking for 15 persons in a cohort called Grow Your Business. And this program will get off the ground sometime mid-June. We're actually trying to find a cohort of 15 persons who have had a business for a while and really haven't leveled up. They haven't leveled up. So we are targeting that group of persons. We want to work with them. 12 weeks of training, 1 3-hour session each week for 12 weeks, and 12 months of hand-holding and coaching. Thereafter, we will do an assessment. So we'll take baseline, to see where you are when you came in. And then after a year, we'll look back and see what changes have happened. But we can guarantee you that once you come into the program and you do what you're asked to do, we can guarantee you that your business will grow.
Sure.
Because it is really a program that targets growing a business. So anybody who is interested in, you're hearing me now and you're interested, you have a business, but it hasn't grown in the last 2 years. And it doesn't have to be related to COVID, because not everything is attributable to COVID, obviously. No. Some persons were the business was never growing, wasn't about to grow because you maybe don't have the skills to grow a business. You are a technical expert, and nobody is going to say, hey,
right.
That's what you're good at. You are good, and that's what we are good at the center, is growing businesses and keeping them alive. So hey, let's come together. You're good at what you do. I'm not good at what you do, but I'm good at growing business, and the staff, all of us there are good at growing businesses. So let's come together. That's what we're doing in this program. We are trying to we're starting with 15 persons who really just want to see their businesses grow. And once we get them together, then we'll showcase them in another year, and we'll say to Cayman, hey, this is the kind amount of growth that has taken place in these particular businesses.
It's a great initiative. So that's separate from the incubator program.
It is, yes.
So the 15 businesses, are you looking for specific industries?
No specific industry. And that's deliberate, because we want to engender diversification.
Sure.
We want people to understand that the greatest level of economic participation can happen through small businesses. That's where economic participation begins in small businesses, because that's where the widest variety of businesses exist. So we're not limiting to any particular industry. We want to engender diversification. We want persons to come in. We want to, at every level, any kind of business as well can come in to the program.
I'm going to make an assumption here. The people that are coming in, they have to be committing to changing.
They have to commit to changing,
and that's
and there are some criteria that they must meet. For example, we want persons who have somebody else in the business, so that they can't have an excuse. I can't come because I'm the only one. So somebody else has to be
run
there.
The business,
So there are some criteria that we will determine, but they have to commit to coming to workshops every single week for 12 weeks. 1 3-hour session every week for 12 weeks, and they have to commit to working with their business advisor for another 12 months to facilitate that growth.
In addition to the initial 12-week.
Right.
12 weeks and
12
then 12
weeks
months.
and then 12 months, right. Mm-hmm.
I like the way you've actually laid that out. And it's a scenario where you're not coming to get cash just to help you get the cash flow. You're coming to actually learn how to run a business. How to run your business.
Right.
And it sounds very custom fit as well.
It is.
Every business is going to be different.
Every business is going to be different, and everybody has different issues and concerns.
Yeah.
So that's why you're given an individual advisor, one-on-one, to help you work out your particular issues over that 1 year period.
That's great. On that note, we are actually out of time. So, Ms. Althea, if people want to get a hold of you to either sign up for this Grow Your Business program, learn more about how the center can benefit them, how can they get in touch?
CICBD@gov.ky.
CICBD?
CICBD. That's Cayman Islands Center for Business Development.
CICBD.
Right. @gov.ky. You may call us at 244-8009, or you can come. We are at West Bay Road. Visit us at West Bay Road, and that's Baytown Plaza, at the other end of the KFC building. So KFC on one end, we are at the other far end.
One of our clients, Royal Medical, is actually right there next to you.
Oh, right.
So I'll give them a shout out as well right now. Ms. Althea, thank you so much for taking time to come in today. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And enjoy the rest of your week.
Same to you.
On that note, we're going to go to our 2 p.m. headline news. When we come back, we'll be sitting down with the team from UCCI.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Cayman Enterprise City announced the AI Forum annual conference will be held in the Cayman Islands on the 12th and 16th of September 2022. The two-day conference will be followed by one day of workshops. Speakers from global entities such as EY, Qualcomm, IBM, Visa, and the World Economic Forum will cover AI topics such as governance, inclusion, healthcare, education, and financial services. Register your interest by emailing Andy Hutchinson at andy@tower.com.ky. In international news, a recent research suggests being overweight substantially increases the risk of developing womb cancer. If a 5'5" woman is 25 pounds above a healthy weight, her risk is nearly doubled, for example. The Cancer Research UK funded research involved 120,000 women in the UK, US, and 5 other countries. The charity says keeping a healthy weight can cut the risk of 13 different cancers. Nigerians have been warned that sharing images of child pornography is an offense that carries a 14-year jail term after a video alleged to involve school children went viral. Students from a prestigious school were on a trip to Dubai last month when the alleged incident was filmed. The mother of a 10-year-old says her daughter was coerced to participate and accused the school authorities of a cover-up. Chrisland Schools, which runs several private primary and secondary schools in Lagos, has denied any wrongdoing. A California woman has pleaded guilty to faking her own high-profile kidnapping and lying to authorities in 2016. Sherry Papini vanished while running near her home, only to reappear 3 weeks later on Thanksgiving. At the time, she claimed 2 Hispanic women kidnapped her, sparking a massive manhunt. The FBI later concluded she was at an ex-boyfriend's house and inflicted injuries on herself. It remains unclear why Papini staged the kidnapping, and she has offered no explanation. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and now pleased to have in studio from UCCI, Mr. Brian Cubas, and Dr. Peter. Dr. Peter, what's your last name?
Peter Paul.
Dr. Peter Paul. Easy, I can't forget that one. That's easy enough. Well, welcome to Talk Today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So we have a special show today for UCCI, and a lot of today's show is going to focus on you, Brian, which I think is actually a pretty cool story. So let's jump right into your story, because I think this is actually a really impressive story that I've heard a few times now.
Yeah. Well, my story at UCCI, it's quite an eventful one. I started off when I was probably 16 or 17. I started off in the certificate program of electric technology. That was a 1-year program in which I trained on campus and also outside of campus with Corporate Electric Limited. And I graduated from that certificate a year later with honors. I was top of my class. After which I was offered a position at corporate. However, I decided to continue with my studies. And, at the time I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I quote-unquote grew up.
Quote-unquote grew up.
Grew up, yeah, exactly. But, I decided, at the time I was really into accounting, and I decided to go for it. So I started an associate's of accounting, and I graduated, but it just wasn't for me, Throughout my time at UCCI, I really had the chance to discover what I wanted to do. I knew it was business focused, and UCCI provided me with the opportunity to really go into many different areas and discover what I wanted to do. Eventually, I switched over to a bachelor's with a concentration in management and a minor in economics, which, again, my story is a little bit all over the place, because my true love has always been, since I started my bachelor's, marketing. and I graduated last year, and now I am a full-time employee at the University College of the Cayman Islands, and I'm currently employed as the marketing assistant.
So we have the pleasure of actually working together
Yes.
on the UCCI campaigns, and you are a pleasure to work with. So let's recap this. At 16, you start with UCCI.
Yes.
As a student.
As a student.
But you're studying electrical engineering?
I was studying electrotechnology.
And then you went to intern with CEC?
With Corporate Electric, yes.
Corporate Electric. Then came back, and you started what program for your bachelor's?
An associate's.
An associate's program.
Yes,
then.
of applied science in accounting.
And how old were you when you started the associate's program?
It was a year later, so I'm not 100% sure how old I was, but I was between 17 or 18 when I started my associates.
And then how old were you when you started your bachelor's?
So that was 2 years later. I was 20, 21.
And you finished your bachelor's at how old?
So last year I was 23.
It's a lot of schooling in a very short span of time.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And how do you feel now that you've actually worked your way into a role at UCCI in the field that you love the most, which is marketing?
Well, being a UCCI student for so long, and as I was saying, the university really provided me with the tools that I needed to successfully get a job, even though it was at UCCI. And that's exactly what I wanted,
Yeah,
being at UCCI, I just grew this enormous love for the school. And to be part of that is something that I wanted to do. And that I realized that I wanted in the last year of my bachelor's, so I pursued it. I actually became an intern prior to being a full-time employee. I was an events intern, and that started last year in January. And July, August of last year, that's when I was offered a position at the university. But, throughout my time as a student, I really believe that the school provided me and equipped me with all the knowledge that I needed to successfully do what I do today for the university, yeah.
From the internship program that you did last year with the event side, is there anything that really stands out as, you learned something really intangible in that internship program? Anything that really stands out and separates itself from anything else?
Well, my internship was actually my very first office job. So I really had a chance to learn the culture and learn what it's like to work in an office environment. At Corporate Electric, I was doing hands-on stuff. Sure. I was out in the field, But what really stood out to me on my internship at UCCI as an events intern was that office environment, working along with many different departments all at once to accomplish one goal. Sure. That really stood out to me, and it's something that I carry in my work ethic every day.
It's an impressive story. Dr. Peter?
No, I think a couple of things stand out to me from Brian's story, and it's not completely unique. What students learn is the ability to problem solve, to actually have leadership development happen in real time in a setting where they're actually handling real projects. And I think that's the kind of stuff that employers are looking for in education, right? It's that soft skills. How can you step up and solve a problem that arises in the workplace? So I think, the fact that we offer these kinds of work placement or work experience programs is a huge benefit both to the individual as they're reskilling and retraining themselves, but also to the employers. When our graduates come out, they actually have some element of real work experience that allows them to be smooth in their functioning in an office setting, which I think post-COVID has proved to be a problem, where many people have stepped away from the real-world experiences. We're now all on Zoom for the last year and a half or 2 years, and it's been a little awkward from what we hear from employers, people coming back, reintegrating into actually having those water cooler discussions, which have become a little more awkward than they needed to be.
No, you're absolutely right.
So it's a very gratifying story. And the other thing that stood out about Brian was he stepped up. I mean, he's a very self-effacing young man. He stepped up. He proved himself. And when young people do that, employers see the potential and will step up and hire. And that's just what UCCI did.
It's a fantastic story. I have a question on the student life side of the coin.
Yes.
So when I was going to college way back in the day, that the lifestyle of the college life, living away at campus, the party life, all that fancy jazz, the sports teams, the cheerleaders, anything you see on TV and in the glorified movies. What did you, when you went to UCCI, how much were you anticipating of a student life? What would you have liked to see different from a student life perspective? Not the educational side, but the student life side, or was it everything that you envisioned and wanted from a university campus?
Well, actually, that's an interesting question because I grew up inside a university back in Mexico. And
okay.
I guess that's also part of the reason why I developed the love for a university, and growing up, seeing all of these different aspects of what a big university has to offer, it really excited me. So when I started UCCI, I really felt as though I had already had that experience growing up of seeing all of the sports, all of the cheerleading, all of these other aspects that we may not have currently in UCCI. But UCCI did offer other things. The opportunity to be in classes that are smaller in number.
Sure.
Obviously allow you to really connect with your professors, and it also allows you to make a connection with them. And because the professors at UCCI, I praise them all the time. The teachers that I had were wonderful, and they helped me along the way with anything and everything that I needed. So having that smaller, quote unquote, experience was really beneficial. There were clubs that I joined. I remember being part of sign language club, and all of these different areas and little aspects that UCCI has to offer, I believe that they contribute to the development of all students as professionals.
That's great.
If I can just add one point to that, I think it's while UCCI is small enough where you can have that more personalized experience, there's also the fact that the interactions that happen with professors and the individual attention you get gives you real exposure. And I think you see that in Brian's story, where he started in a particular field, and just through his interactions and exposure at UCCI to the various programs, he was able to learn what he really was interested in and what he could be really good at. And I think that's part of the community. It's small enough to give you that individualized experience, but it's also a community where you get to meet people who are different. You get to meet professors from varying backgrounds who come from different parts of the world. And I think that's the interesting dynamic there, that you get to see what's possible, not just what's on offer.
We have one call on the line, but I want to echo that. In my college days, my university days, I can only recall a handful of classes and professors from my university days, but they're always the small classes. And if you have an appetite for wanting to grow and develop, those smaller classes give you the interaction time with those professors to really broaden your horizon. And that's exactly how it worked out for me in those smaller classes. This is back in the day. But on that note, let's go to our caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Singh. Good afternoon to your two guests.
Good afternoon.
Brian forgot to mention that he was homeschooled for most of it until he went to UCCI. On top of that, whatever Brian puts his mind to, he puts his whole heart into it. I've known him 11 years plus now, so I can tell you what I know. He is one heck of a person. He has made me proud. The former president, Dr. Roy, always asked for him and always have good to say about him. So with that, Brian, keep it up.
Thank you.
Caller, thank you so much.
I know exactly who that is.
Care to share who that was?
Yes, it's my stepfather. Yes.
Sounds very proud of you.
Thanks to him, I was able to accomplish everything that I have. So, I'm really grateful to him as well.
Hey, you kind of let out the cat. So you were homeschooled before you went to UCCI?
Yeah, actually was. I came to Cayman in 2011, September of 2011, and I didn't know any English. I come from Mexico, so all I knew was Spanish. And so being homeschooled really allowed me to learn the language a little bit more before, rushing into a high school here. But yeah, I was homeschooled for a number of years before I started UCCI. And, I was able to finish my high school education relatively faster because it was all self-paced.
Sure.
Yeah.
Congratulations. On that note, let's go to our commercial break. When we come back, we'll be chatting a bit more about UCCI, Brian, and the upcoming summer courses. Back with more Talk Today right after this.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
It's Kirk Freeport's 50th anniversary, and we're celebrating with you. If it's your 50th birthday in 2022, we have a $50 gift card for you. If you're celebrating your 50th wedding anniversary or higher, it's $500. We'll also donate $50,000 to charities and increase the rewards for store purchases too. Purchases of $500 will receive branded gifts, while purchases of $100 gain entry into our monthly sweepstakes with prizes from luxury brands. View terms and conditions on KirkFreeport.com.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. Only about 10 minutes left in our show today. Hopefully you've tuned in for the rest of the show, but I am Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and we have in studio marketing assistant Brian Kubas, who we've been talking about his journey through UCCI from student to intern to now in full-time employee with the UCCI and part of their marketing team, and also in studio Dr. Peter Paul, special assistant to the president, also sharing part of Brian's journey here. Let's dive into your summer courses and enrollment, because that is coming up here very shortly.
Yeah. So we're actually our application period for students is now open, and we're looking to start the summer semester on May 9th. New students can visit www.ucci.edu.ky/programs to start the application process. There they will be able to learn more about the programs and courses that UCCI has to offer. And on our website, they can also learn about available scholarships for the summer and also the fall semester. So, I mean, UCCI has a wide range of courses and program, including TVET, hospitality, IT, even continuing education courses. UCCI really has something to offer to everyone, whether they're looking for, a degree, or maybe they're looking to learn a new hobby, or they want to learn a trade. UCCI is here, and the university is here to provide all of this.
Okay, so the classes run from May 9th until...
roughly end of June.
End of June.
End of June, yeah.
Will there be a second wave of summer classes from June to August?
Usually that's like a period in between the semesters. So there's usually not much going on there in terms of classes.
That's when you all get your break.
It's like a little summer break for the students, yes.
For the teachers.
And the teachers, yeah.
As well.
And
yes,
the faculty need their break as well.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed, yes.
So the summer classes are... I'm assuming there's a diversity of scheduling, but are most of these daytime classes, or are there going to be some evening classes as well mixed into the curriculum for the summer?
It's both day and evening classes.
Across the board for all the various programs?
Well, it depends by the program, but a lot of these things, the availability will be on the website, which classes are offered in the evenings and which ones are during the day.
Okay.
But just to echo Brian's point, there's a wide array of opportunities for folks to reskill, I think, and that's what a lot of employers are looking for. I think developing a habit of learning is really important to stay current with what's needed in the workforce.
You're absolutely correct, yeah.
And the professional development courses and the continuing education courses are really critical to help take you to the next level, whether it's customer service or IT or whatever it may be. Cybersecurity is always one of those things that a lot of people in IT are looking for. So we have courses in that, and networking and Internet of Things, and a range of different courses available. So I'd encourage people to look at the website and see what's right for them.
That's great.
And sorry, may I just say that aside from also day and evening classes, the University College of the Cayman Islands, we also have the IT Academy. And we have courses that are fully online and self-paced, so that individuals with a busy schedule can complete these courses on their own time. Those interested in a career in IT can earn an entry-level certification or take their IT skills to the next level with all of these different classes that the IT Academy is offering, like cybersecurity, networking, as Dr. Peter said, the Internet of Things, and all of these other different courses. And what's so great about them, as I was saying, is that they're both fully online and learn at your own pace. You don't have to stick to all of the deadlines that a regular class may require.
Sure.
But if you're a busy individual who only has 1 to 2 hours in the evening, you can do it. So
is the IT Academy a degree program? Or is it just individual courses that people have the option to actually solicit and take?
I believe these are certificate courses.
The certificate courses, okay.
Yes.
And roughly, so even though this is the summer program starting May 9th, you mentioned there's a flexibility with the IT programs.
Yes.
Does that mean they can possibly run longer than the June kind of end there? Or is it just flexibility within the week to get the work done?
I would actually have to get back to you on
Sure.
that one.
No, that's fine.
I'm not 100% sure.
No, I love that it actually has that flexibility, because I think everyone is, despite the internet supposedly making our lives easier,
right,
we've congested our lives quite a bit, and we're a lot busier than we were a long time ago. But I think that flexibility, and I think we talked about during the break how so much of the landscape of the workforce is still to be determined. And I think this one particular area is the one that's evolving the fastest. Plumbing hasn't changed a whole lot in 50 years, but IT has. And while we definitely need the TVET courses, we definitely need the hospitality courses, the practicality of the changing landscape of that IT one is a big one. So I think many people, whether they're in IT or not, will be looking at that one in the near future.
And it's possibly an area where you constantly need to keep reskilling.
Absolutely.
Because things change so rapidly.
It does.
That we have to not just learn what's current, but anticipate what's around the corner as well. And I think that's an important piece, certainly in IT.
I think it is. There's story for another day. There's a course here I said for employers. Can you walk us through the for employers courses?
Yes. So our continuing education courses, they're not only for employees, but we also offer customized short courses and training programs that are, as I was saying, customized to the needs of a specific employer. So these include like financial planning seminars that are 2 days, or even time management seminars. And also, all of these programs are tailored upon consultation with the employers. And our team can really tailor these to offer a unique opportunity for these employers and their staff to, upskill and reskill.
That's great. Our last segment was with the business development group, and this is exactly the discussion we were talking about, is upskilling and having employers and entrepreneurs really rounding out their skill sets. And then only a couple minutes left in the show, but the community engagement program. Walk us through this one.
Yes, so applications for the new scholarships are open through July 16. But the Community Engagement Program, or CEP, at UCCI is a comprehensive need-based scholarship and retention program for first-generation college students studying in the Cayman Islands who demonstrate the potential for sustainable leadership, community awareness, and also involvement. Recipients will receive up to $2,500 per year, and this is renewable, for tuition, books, fees, and other related educational needs. And this award can be renewed annually. And the program also includes a curricular experience with an emphasis on leadership development and community service. So, this program is really for those that have that burning desire to be leaders in their community.
UCCI is trying to be really active in the philanthropy space. We want to bring in as much money as we can to support our students, and so we undertake a lot of activities and outreach to potential donors so that they can help ease the burden that many students face in paying for tuition and books and all the related educational costs. So that's part of our core function, that we're trying to reach out to businesses and to philanthropists to ensure that we can do everything within our power to lessen this burden that many students are still facing.
I remember the cost of books. They were not cheap.
Yep.
They were heavy, too.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I had to carry them around the university campus.
Against the burden,
They were really heavy.
Yeah.
Do you help carry them, too?
That's the next phase.
That's the next phase. And, all right. Thank you so much, guys. If people have any questions about UCCI's admissions process, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can email us at admissions@ucci.edu.ky. Our admissions team is always trying to be as responsive as can be. Or they can call us at 623-8224. So if people need any help or if they got any questions regarding the application process, those are the two avenues that they can take to reach us.
That's great. Brian, thank you so much again. What an incredible journey you've been able to share with us.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can see more students emulate your success story.
I mean, it's possible, all of our students have that potential to become whatever they want to be, Our emphasis was, to study local and go far. And one of the examples, I guess, quote unquote, one of the examples of that, that you can stay here, you can study here, and you can go far with your career. So
study here, right here at UCCI. Yeah. Dr. Peter, thank you so much again for coming in.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Appreciate it. On that note, we do need to call it a wrap for today's show. Thank you again to all of our loyal listeners out there in Radio Cayman Nation, our guests from the Christian Association of Civics, the Cayman Business Development Center, the Department of Commerce and Investment, and UCCI. On behalf of the entire Radio Cayman family, thank you for tuning into your station of the nation. And a future shout out to my colleagues Anita Khan and Catherine Miller, who will be filling in for Sterling the remainder of this week. I'm Raymond Singh. God bless and have a safe rest of your week.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.